Welcome to the Art Lady's home. Today I'm going to show you how I made this castle structure for the garden. And I'm actually going to turn it into a planter, but you could even put a little solar pack and have some lights inside and even build in some more windows so the lights shine through. But for my purpose, I was planning on using it like you see here as a planter. So I had a lot of bigger openings for the plants to tuck into. But it's basically built using simple shapes like cylinders and cones. And I have some simple patterns. If you would like to access them, click on the title and it will take you to a link so you can download them and trace them onto your clay. Now I do want to mention that this is in a greenware form. I haven't even fired it once yet, but I've just tucked the plants in for the photos. I still haven't decided on what I'm going to glaze yet. So that's going to be in the next few weeks. But I'm going to go ahead and show you how I built this step by step. And the video is made for artists who are new to ceramics. First thing you do after you've cut out all your pieces is I lay them out and I let them dry a bit because I've just cut them out of some real fresh clay. And I just smooth it out on both sides. And I like putting it on pieces of paper. That way this can absorb some of the moisture in the clay. So it's a little bit stiffer to work with. Put the balcony together, what I do is I smooth out the clay on both sides. I'm gonna make a diagonal, straighten up these edges, and then I just score, and then I'm gonna slip, some real good thick slip. And then you just simply press together, pressing and pushing in, but try not to change the thickness of your slabs here. You can use a tool I find helpful because you want this balcony to be rounded. And then this area needs to be rounded as well. So I'm going to tap. And again, when you're trying to blend this seam here, you don't want to push too hard because you do not want the clay to be really thin. You want to keep the same thickness throughout as you're joining your seams. Tapping seems to help too. I don't want to distort the shape too much. On the inside, if you add a little bit of, not slip, but really wet, thin clay, fresh, thin clay, that can add some support to those seams. Then, to make this really beautiful and smooth, I'm gonna do some more tapping, supporting it with my hands on the inside so that we don't have any funny shapes here. We want it to be nice and smooth. Then you can even take a rib that's clean and smooth that out. Again, being really careful that you're not distorting and pushing the clay. You want it to be equal thickness. And then test it to see it lays flat. You can even tap like this because this will be joined to the structure, the house structure, like so. And you can adjust these if you want these to be wider, or if, in my case, I want it to form a nice C shape. And then finish cleaning it up. That's how you form the balcony. So I did do a bevel here. It's going to join together. So score and slip this area. So I'm putting on that. And so then I'm going to join my piece together. So I'm forcing this together. And then I'm going to get the bottom. Now I'm supporting it with my hand inside. And I'm pressing. The slip is coming out, but I'm supporting on the inside. I'm going to take a ruler, supporting my hand, and I'm banging and pushing this way. There's my top. I'm joining my sides up nice. Now, I'm just going to be extra cautious. So I'm going to run a little coil on the inside down my seam. There. Give it a little bit more support. So I add the coil right down here. I'm also going to press in some clay on the outside as well, right in here. And then I'm just going to smooth it out with this. Okay, so there is our basic cylinder. Now I'm going to attach the staircase. And what I did was I folded down the flap for the landing, and then I folded this over. And then where these two meet, you can score, slip, and you're going to put these seams together. I'm going to roll a small coil that goes here so that when they meet together, the coil inside gives support. Now I'm going to place this where I'd like it, and you may have to cut in here, the top of the balcony, to meet the curve. So I'm going to slice in just a little bit in the middle, keep my sides, cut a little concave part in the middle here, coming in, just so it meets the round part of my castle here. I've lined this up, and then I'm just going to place this on temporarily, right here. And then I'm going to trace it down the line where it's going, and I'm scoring a little bit in the clay. I'm also going to trace this part of my balcony, the back here, and I'm going to attach a coil, and the coil will just help support the stair treads. I'm taking the coil and pressing it 1/4 of an inch, so the thickness of the clay, and that's where the coil's going. All the way down. The coil is going to help support the stair treads. And I'm just going to tap that into place here. I did score and slip this a little bit first. Now what I'm going to do is just blend the bottom edge of that coil in. And this will help support that stair tread. It's like so. Then I'm going to line up this to form the balcony. And then this is going to line up here. Now the edge of my balcony, because I'm going to attach that now, where these two meet, I'm going to run a coil as well. It just strengthens these seams. So then this just attaches and this attaches. Inside here, I'm going to blend that coil. So I'm pushing my fingers into the coil to attach these sides. Attach there, and then this comes around. I'm going to keep it opened, and as I attach and work, I'll slowly close it. So now this is going in here. So I'm going to score the inside area. And then I'm going to score up in here. I want to score and slip this area. And same thing goes for in here. So I'm going to score up in here. I'm going to add some slip here. So now this is going to go in place here. Now I'm going to have it rest on this part here, just to give it more support. So I'm scoring and slipping all this. Again, this is pretty stiff here. It's got to be to support all this. And so then this is going to come in here, and then this goes directly, I'm going to have it right on the very edge of my stairs. So now I'm putting it together, letting my stairs rest on the coil, and then it's going to rest here. As I'm curving it, I'm not putting it all together right now because I need to be able to have access to this. So I'm joining the coil now to the stair tread, and then on this side, I'm pressing and blending as I'm going along. So now as I go down my stairs, I'm doing the same. Pushing the coil into the top of the stair tread. Putting it on the inside as I give a good press. Have it join. Now, I'm going to run a coil down in here as well. This is really wet again. Really fresh, wet clay. Oops. In this coil. And then I'm going to do the same for these seams. You want to get all your seams up nice. Now I'm going to tap, because I want this stair tread to bond to the top of that wall. Right there. So I'm going to the inside of the wall and smoothing that coil out. So I'm going to run a coil here and here. I'm going to fill any cracks with slip. Of this here. I did this on the inside, so now I want to do it on the outside as well. Now I'm going to use some paper towels just to give it a little bit more support on the inside. Now I'm going to show you how I did the step treads. The first thing I did was I smoothed out all of this. This is approximately 1/4 of an inch by 1/4 of an inch. And then I'm going to keep the ends straight, so it's a little 1/4 inch piece by 1/4 inch piece with a flat end. Then I place it where I want my tread to be. So I leave a space, and this is quite small, so I left about 1/4 of an inch from here. So I can just put a little bit of slip here, press in, and I want to keep this edge straight. So this is at almost a right angle. I want to keep this 90-degree angle here. So the front of it to this side is 90 degrees, but then I'm just blending in this part. I'm going to trim this off and just press down. Keeping this, filling in my seams. So then this is flat and level. This tread is flat and level. I'm just moving these. Now I'm trimming the sides. Keeping the face of it. Going up. So this is perpendicular to the tread. So this forms a right angle here. And then I'm going to do my next one. Face of the stairs, I do not want to distort. I want to keep that almost as much of a right angle as I can. Just blending this in. It slightly sinks in as it comes back, but that's okay. I'm still getting the effect or the illusion that it's a stair. And that's how I'm going to do it all the way down. I'll show you over here again. Let's get a little bit of here. And press in. And see, flatten this just a little bit here for the next one, just at the bottom. These are the little side balconies, and to attach them, you go ahead and here's a flat straight edge. So I want to give this a slight angle. So I'm trimming this in at a diagonal, and it's to the inside. So just a little bit of this I'm trimming off here. And then again, score and slip. So you can place it any way you'd like. So bevel your edges, score and slip. I trace where it's going to go. I score on my castle wall. Same thing I did with my staircase. And then attach. I just attached the balcony, and then I ran a coil underneath to give support. Then I took the awning that goes over the door pattern. First I cleaned up all the edges and smoothed it out with my finger. Then I wet the center, and then wet the back, and then folded it down the middle. And then where it bends in here, I gave it a slight little fold and a slight little fold. Now I'm going to connect it right here. Now for me, my stairs continue down here just under the door, which in reality, they wouldn't continue under a door, so you could probably put your door somewhere else. But for me, I want the center here, and the stairs are going to end up being covered with some dirt from a planter, because I'm going to rest this in a bowl, fill it with dirt. So it didn't matter that the stairs were here, but you might want to think that through before you do it. What you want to do is you could just make this a landing. So you could just extend your stairs over here and then drop it off. So this is the landing to get to the door. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a coil up and around on the inside, and then run a coil on the outside. I'm showing you what the door looks like before I go ahead and attach it. You can see how I ran a coil on the inside and also on the outside. I scored and slipped this area. And now I'm going to go ahead and just start attaching permanently. Make sure too that it's all centered, and I think it looks pretty good like this. And blending in all edges and making sure that both pieces are bonding together. What I found works. You know, you may have another idea or way that you like to attach pieces together, but this is almost a surefire thing. I'm attaching the balcony, a side balcony. And what I did was I ran a coil on the inside, I ran a coil on the outside. Here in the middle is the original wall of the balcony, right in here. So I'm going to score and slip everything, just these rough edges here. Fill in the cracks good. I'm going to place this, I'd say about here. So before you start pushing everything on, you make sure it's all the way you want it. I want to double check to see the view from here. I'm adjusting it to exactly where I want it. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to bring it up like that. So when I have it where I want it, exactly, now I'm going to just press it in. Give it a little push in. So I'm just pushing in the walls gently, supporting it with my inside hand, giving some good presses here. And then I'm going to blend all my edges. And as I'm pushing on the coil that I had made. You can see how the slip is coming out now. And I'm just going to clean up all my edges real good like so. And I'm going to finish attaching. I put on the back awning. And for this, you can bend this any way you want to. You can do it curved. I have it bent kind of in the middle, and then I have it slightly curved in on the edges. Here is the side tower or pocket that I'm going to use for planting. There's the front, and then I also put on the other side here. And I'll just quickly show you what it's looking like now. From the top, here's the planters here. So I started making the second level of the tower, but I wanted to show you before I went ahead and sealed my edges. I first of all made the long band, which is going to be the second balcony railing, and I scored and slipped and put those together, so it's basically the large ring. And then for the circle, I scored and slipped the edges of the circle right here. I'll show you what it looks like underneath, like so. So this band is going on top of the circle about 1/8 of an inch in from the edge, and that way, because my circle isn't cut exactly perfect, that way this can just rest on top. Then I'll press it in like this, and then I'll bring this clay that's about 1/8 of an inch overlap up into the base. That way I don't have to run a ring of a coil here. So I'm going to position this perfect, make it perfectly round, and then I'll just blend in this edge up. And see how I've just kind of just pressed that up gently. I flipped it over and tapped it first with my finger, and then I just blended this edge in. And now I'm going to clean it up so it's smooth, but I wanted to show you what it looked like before I cleaned it up, like so. Here is the top, and it fits on here. I did adjust this, and I cut this at an angle so that this bowl can fit on. But there is the top part that's on. I'm working on the upper tower now, and I think I'm going to give it a little bit of texture. So what I did was I first cut out the piece, and then what I did was I trimmed the edge here, and I diagonally trimmed the edge here so that when it rolls together, it's going to fit nicely. And then I formed the roof area here. I cut a diagonal and then cut a diagonal here, and then they scored them, and I'm going to slip them in a minute, but I wanted to show you the tip here. I cut down on one side of this at a little angle. Now what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of water here while I'm letting it set up a bit. And then I rubbed it smooth with this little metal rib, and now I slightly started the curve here, gently as it's drying. So I've got this little kind of geometrical, kind of abstract square. So I'm just going to start at one end and just very lightly press, and I'm going to do it so that I don't distort the clay. You could do this first and then trace your pattern. I'm just going to be very careful here. And I think it might look okay. Then you're going to very carefully form your tower. And having it a little bit wet does help as I'm bringing it around. Now I'm going to slightly bend this, and I'm going to be very gentle and careful with that texture because I don't want to smash it out of place. Now I'm going to go ahead and score and slip this. And then I'll put a little bit of slip here along this edge. Rounding them, bringing them together, and see how they're overlapping slightly, but it's just at a thin point where they're going to overlap. And I'm just carefully pinching together. I'm going to remove some of this slip here. I'm leaving a little bit of thickness. I'm just being real careful with the texture. Getting my edges. Now I'm going to bring it back up here. I want to seal this. Then I'm going to seal all the insides real good. I'm going to use a tool inside to reach where I can't reach. And I'm blending the seams on the inside. I'm just going to take my roller and line it up as best I can and just press, supporting it on the inside, just pressing this. Now to do the roof, same thing. You're going to put a little bit of, after you've scored and slipped it, and this is pretty wet, so I'm not going to do too much slip on here. This tool is actually giving quite a bit. Just do a little bit of slip. And then bring it together. And it goes, this is diagonally on the top, and this is diagonally on the inside. So this side goes over it slightly. Actually, I'm going to build it first here because I can't reach down there. So I'm going to build it here. So this goes over it right here. This side is under. Just going to pinch off the top. So this goes over it. Now I'm going to support the inside. Blend this. This goes over. Let's see if I can get my finger in. Support the inside. I'm supporting the inside. Now I'm going to blend on the inside here too. Just being really careful. Oh, there's a little crack there. And that's how you make your top. And you just keep on blending and cleaning up until you like it. Like so. And then do the same for the inside. I'm going to take a tool way in to seal some of this. Mine was a little off on the edge here, so I'm just going to trim it right here. Now, if you're going to carve any thicker pattern in here, then you might want to make it a little bit thicker than 1/4 inch. This is pretty thin. I would never go any thinner than 1/4 inch for pieces like this because it's just going to be too floppy. This is as thin as I would go because it forms a nice cone. So this is slightly being bent outward. And then you can have fun decorating. You know, you can decide on how you want these to shape. You know, you can have it bend one way. You can have it perfectly straight in the middle. You can have it twisted to give it personality. That's up to you. And to roll it, if you want it to be a little bit straighter, you can just roll it this way. And you're going to get the top in a perfect cone. I would do that before I fluted it all, but so it's nice and smooth right down there. And then you can flute it after. But that's how you can do your little shape. And see, I want this to fit over this, like so. So even by just pressing this inward a bit, so I'm curving this inward, this makes it a little bit thinner. it's tapering in, and that way your cone can go on. And then I taper my cone out like I was doing here. I want this to be a pretty little curve, so I pinch it outward. And then I'm going to smooth all these edges up and clean it all up. Like that. It's fitting on nicely. So there's the top tower. This will fit inside here eventually. And then I can do a little row of plants in here. And here's what it looks like on the side view. I rolled a coil and now I'm going to attach it here just for a door for on top of the roof. That way I can have some plants coming in here and they can grow inside the door. And this is the door opening once I scored and slipped and put on the coil, and then I cut out the little door. I've just added a lot of texture to the castle, but I want to show you this. This is a beautiful shape using just one of these clips. And it has a really cool, let's see if you can see it. Well, actually you can see it here. It's really pretty. I think those are really beautiful. They remind me of some mosques that I just visited in Istanbul. So part of my memories. This is what I was referring to when I talked about reminiscent of my travels to Turkey. The pillow on the left is very similar to the pattern that I used in my rooftops. And these were just pillow covers that I had picked up in Istanbul. And then, of course, this on the right is Hagia Sophia. And I can see a lot of this design in my castle. And so my travels were great inspiration for my imaginary structure that I'm creating. So I just simply press it in. Line it up, rock it. And gently press it in. But there's where I left off on this side. And it's a great shape. So what I did was I walked around the house and looked for some really cool stuff to press in. I was trying to find some blocks for the castle part. I had these buttons, and you can see how it kind of has this raised ridge. So I pressed that part in so that the castle has some bigger blocks. And then, of course, your Legos. And this is the back side of the Lego. And then after I pressed it in, I just rubbed out that little hole right there. And then this was a little paint can. So my paint was in here, my watercolors, and I just picked out the watercolors. And then one of the things I liked, one of the best shapes, is this oval here for like rounder rocks. I'm going to show you some close-up details that I did here of the door. I just carved in some lines. I added a little piece of clay above it to make it like a little carved detail. And then I did the texture on the main building here. And I'm going to show you how I am going to finish the texture so that it doesn't look so artificial like this. What I've been doing is I've been carving away some in-between pieces once it's leather hard. So I just simply pull away some of these edges that are in between. And tight areas, I use the point here. And I'm just carving in here. It just takes a few more minutes, but I think it makes a difference. And I just pull just a little bit around it. It's giving it a little bit of recessed areas. And then it pulls away this seam. That way it's not so artificial looking. Here's the completed castle, and it's still in the process of drying. It's about 20 inches tall, and at the widest point from balcony to balcony, it's 10 inches. And I really like the way it came out. Now you can use your castle, you know, as a standalone sculpture any way you want, garden inside. Mine, like I said, is made for the garden, and these little pockets here are going to hold some succulents. They're going to be tucked inside. I'm really excited about the stairs. I still have to sponge it off a little bit and clean up some of the crumbs. I did not attach the top to the base. That way I can remove it and put garden soil in. But if you're not using it as a garden planter, you might want to just attach it permanently together. Here's the back side, and I tucked in a few little plants so you can get the idea of how the succulents are going to fit in here. And it came out adorable. Here's the detail down in here. And in the balcony. Thank you for watching, and I hope this video was inspiring to you to make your own backyard fairy house or garden castle with dragons. Of course, you can add all of the things that are in your imagination to make it your castle. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and I want to thank my patrons for supporting this channel.